What you are about to hear is not motivational fluff. This is not surface-level inspiration. This is a psychological weapon, a mental reset, a blueprint for becoming unstoppable. Because what you're about to learn, if you actually let it sink in, will rewire the way you respond to struggle, uncertainty, and the silence between your efforts and your results. This is not about pretending. This is about assuming control, a shift in how you walk, speak, think, and act. A shift in how you interpret your delays, your pain, your waiting seasons. This is about commanding the outcome with your inner state. So hear me clearly. Act as if everything always works out. Most men never grasp this. They wait for signs, for proof, for perfect timing. They don't act, they wait, but what they never realize is that life is not responding to their circumstances. Life is responding to their assumptions. The boldest truth I can give you is this. The way you expect things to turn out is the way they usually do. Not because the universe is magically rearranging itself, but because you are, your focus becomes your filter. And your assumptions shape your speech, your persistence, your reactions, your posture. You act small, hesitate, and fold. Not because life is hard, but because you expected resistance to win. So what if today, right now, you assumed that everything, even the hard parts, was still working in your favor? What if the closed doors weren't rejections, but redirection? What if the delay wasn't punishment, but preparation? What if the pain was not the end, but the exact prerequisite to your breakthrough? When you live like the outcome is already secured, you stop hesitating. You start building. You start walking, not looking around for approval. You don't negotiate with doubt. You move like someone who's already won. And that mindset, that shift, is not delusion, it's design. It's not fantasy, it's faith in action. It's not about lying to yourself, it's about choosing your frame. Henry Ford didn't build a future by asking if it was possible. He decided it was. He built factories when others were still debating if cars would ever matter. That's the power of assumption. Edison kept building even after 10,000 failures, not because he was stubborn, but because he had already assumed success. He saw the result in his mind. So the setbacks didn't shake him. Why? Because in his world, it was already done. Charles Schwab, Andrew Carnegie. These men didn't dabble in doubt. Their certainty wasn't based on evidence. It created evidence. They didn't wait to see. They moved like it was already real. And that movement, that energy, that conviction, that's what built steel empires and financial dynasties. The world didn't make room for them until they walked in like they belonged. That's the difference. So I ask you, why not you? Why not today? Why not act as if everything is unfolding in your favor, even now, even when it's dark, even when you don't feel ready? Because that version of you, the one who hesitates, who doubts, who flinches at resistance, he cannot coexist with the version of you who commands his destiny. One of them has to die. You don't get both. So which one are you feeding? Acting as if is not pretending. It's programming. It's deciding that your state of mind is the architect of your future, that your belief is the soil and your discipline is the seed. And when you carry certainty into chaos, you don't just survive. You shape the chaos. You turn it, you bend it, you redirect it. That's power. That's vision. That's mental warfare. This is your new standard. Walk like it's already done. Think like the results are on the way. Speak like the door is already open. Move like the victory is already written. Because when you move like that, everything changes. You shift your frequency. You change what you attract. You stop chasing and start magnetizing. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the applause. Don't wait for permission. Your future self is begging you to believe now, to assume now, to act now. Because when you act as if the outcome is guaranteed, you stop leaking energy. You stop spinning your wheels in worry. You start executing. You start finishing. And you stop folding. And yes, fear will still show up, but you won't feed it because faith will already be in the room. And faith doesn't eliminate fear. It just renders it irrelevant, because when the voice in your head says, what if this all falls apart, you'll calmly answer, what if this is exactly how it's supposed to come together? That's the shift. So from this moment forward, I want you to live in that frame. Train it into your body. Seek it until it becomes automatic. Repeat it until your subconscious accepts it as law. Everything is working out for me, even when I don't understand it, even when it hurts, even when I feel alone. It's all part of the plan. Let that be your new mantra. Let it anchor you. Let it harden your mind. Because the only thing more dangerous than failure is a man who expects to win no matter what. Not from arrogance, but from alignment. Not from wishful thinking, but from ruthless focus. When you act as if the battle is already won, you carry a different energy. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer panic, you plan. You no longer hope, you build. And this is your new identity. You don't beg life to treat you well. You assume it will. You don't hope to get stronger. You train as if strength is inevitable. You don't wait to feel confident. You move as if your presence is already respected. This is not about ego. This is about frequency. It's about matching the energy of the result you say you want. So say it with me. Everything always works out for me, and not as a whisper, but as a law. Seek it until your posture changes, until your eyes change, until your actions fall in line with the reality you've already decided on. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. So become the outcome. This is the new operating system. This is how we move now. This is how we speak. This is how we persist. This is how we endure, with certainty, with focus, with unshakable assumption. Let's begin. Not by waiting, not by analyzing, not by hoping, but by moving, because it's in motion that power is revealed. It's in doing that belief becomes unshakable. You want confidence, you earn it in action. You want clarity, you earn it through execution. You want certainty, you don't wait to feel it. You generate it by acting as if it's already done. Because here's the truth they never taught you. You don't need the world to believe in you. You don't need guarantees. You don't need perfect timing. What you need is one assumption burned into your nervous system so deeply that nothing can knock it loose. This will work out, no matter what. That's the seed that grows resilience. That's the belief that gives you permission to become relentless. When you carry that frame, your energy shifts. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what would I do if I couldn't fail? You stop waiting for the stars to align and start realizing you are the one who aligns them through your words, through your mindset, through your movement. You begin to understand that certainty is not about the outcome, it's about your identity. You don't win because things are easy. You win because you decide not to fold. You win because you stay in motion while others wait. You win because you show up with conviction while the world is still undecided. And if you can make that shift, not just once, but daily, hourly, moment by moment, you become untouchable. Because people who act as if everything works out don't shrink when things go silent. They don't retreat when the numbers don't add up. They don't break when plans fall through. Why? Because they know the bigger plan is still intact. That's the energy you need to adopt. The unshakable belief that the detour is the path, that the breakdown is the preparation, that the silence is sacred, that the waiting season isn't punishment, it's training. When you act as if everything is working for your highest good, you stop interpreting obstacles as threats and start reading them as signs. You stop panicking in the pause and start preparing in the pause. Most people are terrified of uncertainty, but the great ones, those who shift reality, they dance in uncertainty. Because uncertainty is where possibilities are born. It's where creativity explodes. It's where the unseen becomes visible to the one who believes before he sees. You want to separate your start assuming the win in the middle of the war. You want to be magnetic? Start behaving like the result is inevitable. That energy, that frequency pulls the right people to you, the right ideas to you, the right opportunities to you. People trust those who trust themselves, and the world bends to those who refuse to break. Because here's the secret. Life will rise to meet you at the level of your certainty, not your wishes. If you walk timid, life hands you more to fear. If you walk decisive, life hands you challenges meant for champions. And you are a champion, but you have to act like it, speak like it, persist like it, lead like it. So here's your new rule. Never act from fear. Always act from vision. Because fear tells you to protect what you have. Vision tells you to build what you came for. Fear will say, stay safe. Vision will say, go further. Fear negotiates. Vision commands. And the man who acts from vision walks through storms like their scenery, unshaken, undeterred. And let's be honest, what's the alternative? Doubt? Hesitation? Waiting for guarantees in a world that owes you nothing? That's how most people live. That's how dreams die in silence while their owners rehearse worst-case scenarios in their heads. But not you. Not anymore. You don't rehearse fear. You rehearse power. You don't visualize failure. You visualize victory until your body believes it's inevitable. You're not here to survive. You're here to bend reality. You're here to act like the next level is already yours. You're here to dominate your day like everything is falling into place. And yes, some days will hurt. Some doors will close. Some plans will shatter. But you keep showing up like it's still unfolding perfectly. Because you're not acting based on circumstance. You're acting based on identity. This is who you are now, a man who moves in certainty even when things are uncertain. A man who assumes victory even in the middle of resistance. A man who knows the outcome is already written and it ends in his favor. And every time your mind starts to spiral, every time fear whispers, "What if?" you answer it with your new standard. It's working out. It always works out. Even this, you don't need to see how. You just need to move as if. And that as if becomes your advantage, because while the world is waiting for signs, you are becoming the sign. So let's end with this. Don't act like the man who's hoping. Act like the man who's already won. Don't think like the man who's seeking approval. Think like the man who commands respect. Don't live like someone who's surviving. Live like someone who's becoming legend. Because when you walk in that frame, the universe listens differently. Life bends differently. People respond differently. And your outcomes begin to match your assumption. Everything always works out. Remember that, speak it, move like it, and never forget, uncertainty is not your enemy. It's your proving ground. Let's move because overthinking is the assassin of action. Every second you wait for clarity is a second your future slips deeper into delay. You don't need more time. You don't need another sign. You need to decide. Decide that this version of you, the one moving with force, with fire, with belief, is not temporary. This is you now, not someday, not when you feel ready. Not because here's what they won't tell you. Nothing outside of you changes until something within you shifts. People keep chasing external results, external recognition, external success, but they never stop to ask, who am I being while I wait for what I want? Are you waiting like a beggar hoping for scraps, or are you preparing like a king building an empire? Because how you wait reveals everything about how you'll lead. When you act as if everything always works out, you lead yourself. You become your own proof. You stop needing reassurance. You stop needing applause. You stop needing evidence to back your vision. You become the evidence. You become the energy that makes it real. This is spiritual. This is mental. This is emotional warfare. Because fear will always give you a reason to hesitate. But you're not here to live on reason. You're here to live on conviction, on fire, on purpose. And you don't light that fire by hoping. It ignites when you move forward as if the win is already guaranteed. And this is where most people fold, right here, in the silence, in the unknown, in the stretch between the dream and the result. But that's where you stand out, because when others stop, you lean in. When others question, you declare. When others pause, you press forward, not because it's easy, but because your assumptions have already locked in the outcome. You're no longer driven by your sense. You're driven by your standard, a standard that says, I do not negotiate with doubt. I do not ask fear for permission. I do not let circumstances define what's possible. I lead, I decide, I assume the win, and I build it with blood if I have to. There is no fallback plan when you believe it's already yours. That kind of belief pulls something deeper out of you. It hardens your resolve. It turns your thoughts into weapons. It makes you dangerous. Because a man who moves without needing external permission is unbreakable. He becomes a storm, a force, a signal to the universe that says, I'm not asking, I'm taking. And when life tests you, and it will, you answer not with panic but with presence, not with fear but with fire. Because your belief isn't fragile anymore. It's not circumstantial. It's trained. It's rooted. It's anchored. and storms don't shake what's anchored. So let me remind you again, and say this out loud if you have to. Everything is working out for me, even this, especially this. When it hurts, it's working. When it's quiet, it's working. When it feels like nothing is moving, it's still working. You are not behind. You are not cursed. You are not being punished. You are being built. Act as if you already know the outcome is secure. Act as if your future self is already thanking you, because he is. He's already waiting at the finish line. He's already walking in the life you can't quite see yet. And every time you choose belief over doubt, certainty over confusion, movement over stagnation, you step closer to him. You become him. You don't need to know the whole path. You just need to trust the first step. And then the second, and then the third. And you keep going like the result is already printed in gold. And that is not arrogance, that is alignment. Because the world doesn't bend for those who wait. It bends for those who walk forward anyway. The ones who lead with belief, not because they have proof, but because they've decided proof will follow. The ones who show up when it's hard, who build when it's dark, who trust when there's no applause. That's who wins. That's who rewrites history. That's who becomes legendary. So don't just listen to these words. Absorb them, breathe them. Let them override the fear in your chest. Let them replace the old programming that kept you small, that kept you hesitant, that kept you circling the same cycles. You're done with that now. You're done with playing scared. You're done with apologizing for your ambition. You're done with asking life for permission to rise. From this moment forward, you walk as if everything always works out. You speak as if your success is already echoing through time. You lead as if the outcome is inevitable. And when someone asks you, "How are you so calm?" you look them in the eye and say, "Because I don't move with doubt. I move with decision." Now get up. Stand up. Shoulders back. Eyes focused. This is your season. This is your shift. This is your signal to the universe that you are done negotiating with fear, with delay, with hesitation. You know it's working. You trust the process. You command the result. Now walk in it. Move in it. Become it. The world bends for those who act like it's already there. Let's go, because hesitation is no longer part of your vocabulary. Doubt is no longer welcome in your inner world. The moment you act as if the outcome is inevitable, you separate yourself from the 99% who wait for guarantees. You become the 1% who create them. And listen, this isn't about fake confidence. It's not about ignoring obstacles. It's about choosing a frame of power. It's about conditioning your mind to lead regardless of the chaos, because there will be chaos. There will be seasons where nothing makes sense and everything in you wants to pause, shrink, collapse. That's where most people give up. That's where most people reset back to doubt. But you don't fold, because your assumption is different now. You've burned a new belief into your system. I will not lose. I cannot lose. Because even this pain is working for me. You no longer evaluate your life based on immediate results. You don't need constant validation. You don't need proof to keep building. You are the proof. You're not looking for the signs. You've become the sign. That's what happens when you act as if you stop waiting to be chosen. You stop asking, "Why me?" and you start saying, "Try me." Life's not easy for you, but it's obeying you, because you walk like a man who already holds the outcome in his hand. And you know what happens when you do that consistently. The world starts to adjust. People start responding to you differently. Opportunities start showing up. Solutions appear. Doors open, not because the path got easier, but because you stopped blocking it with fear. See, fear is loud when your belief is silent. But when your belief gets louder, when it becomes your dominant energy, it has no space to breathe inside a man who walks like destiny is already unfolding. So right now, burn this into your memory. My life bends to my assumptions. If you assume betrayal, you'll find it. If you assume lack, you'll attract it. But if you assume abundance, if you assume alignment, if you assume victory in every season, your energy will start organizing reality around that truth. People think this is magic. It's not. It's mechanics. It's mental architecture. The thoughts you repeat become the blueprint of your results. You are constructing your life from the inside out. Your assumptions are the cement. Your words are the bricks. Your emotions are the electricity running through it all. And if you build on fear, you'll live in fear. But if you build on certainty, on purpose, on relentless belief, you'll live in a fortress that cannot be shaken. This isn't just mindset, it's mission. You've been playing small for too long. You've been waiting for too long. This is your moment to stop trying and start deciding, to stop thinking and start commanding, to stop wondering and start walking like it's already done. Because the truth is, you don't have time to waste another day living like the outcome is undecided. It's not undecided, it's already written. But you have to match it. You have to walk in the energy of the life you say you want. You have to become the version of you who's already living it. That version of you. He doesn't ask what if. He doesn't stall in overthinking. He doesn't carry the weight of who he used to be. He forgets the old story. He forgives the past. And he forges ahead, unshaken, unbothered, undeniable. Because once you assume everything works out for you, the anxiety lifts, the confusion fades. You become focused not on problems, but on possibilities. You don't need every answer. You just need to own your state. So whatever you're facing right now, whatever is stretching you, delaying you, confusing you, I want you to pause and say this out loud. This is building me. This is blessing me. This is bending in my favor. Speak it like you mean it. Say it until your nervous system calms down. Say it until your soul feels unshakable. Because this is the edge. This is where transformation begins. Not when everything goes right, but when nothing goes right and you still choose to believe. That's where kings are made. That's where legends are born. You're not here for average. You're not here for comfort. You're not here to live a life that looks like everyone else's. You're here to recode your destiny, and that starts with one decision, to act as if everything always works out. So don't turn back now. Don't let your emotions drag you back into fear. You've heard enough. You've learned enough. You've waited long enough. Now it's time to move. With intensity, with conviction, with the energy of inevitability. This is your turning point. This is your elevation. From here forward, your belief is your compass. Your vision is your map. Your certainty is your fuel. And your actions, they speak so loud that the universe has no choice but to align.